All right, so a lot to dig into. Art, why don't you get us started? How do we balance those short and long-term goals?
So one of the things we have to understand is from the beginning that we are wired to really overweight the things that we want in the short term relative to the things that we want in the long term.
It's about survival.
Absolutely. And so we are driven by these short-term goals, and often those long-term goals fall to the sideline. And we tend to discount things that might happen in the future and overweight things that are going to happen in the present.
Christy, what do you think about that?
So what we've looked at from a research perspective is when people can visualize themselves in the future, then that helps them think about what those long-term goals are, and then you can almost work backwards, like this is what I can do in the short run in order to help me reach those long-term goals. So Brad's done a study on visualizing the future. I'll let him talk about that. But we also did a study in terms of just thinking about what are your best hopes for the future, and how are you going to know that those hopes have been realized? And that has really helped people think more long term. And then what is it that you can do now or within the week to help you reach those goals? And you're kind of blending those two together.
Yeah, it really is overriding this. You know, we like to sort of complain or look bad at people who don't save for the future. I mean, but that's the abnormality really is to save for the future. So how do you get yourself really excited about doing that? And you really have to engage that emotional brain. And so one of the studies we did, we put people in either a group that taught them about savings and why it's important, or a group where we basically had them just visualize their goals for the future. And we had them create a vision board of their most passionate goals. And we saw a 73% increase in savings by just getting visual and getting emotionally attached and really specific around those goals. So the more specific you can be around those goals by giving them names, dates at which you want to achieve them. For example, there's nothing more boring than like a savings account because there's no emotional attachment to it. And actually it sounds bad. Like what you know, you mean I can't have this thing right now? And so if you can, for example, call it a 2020 family European vacation account. Now you can get excited about that because you start picturing it, you get in touch with your feelings. And so that's a really powerful hack.
Interesting. I want to tie that right back and have Art pick up on that. So with this visualization and thinking about even giving some real focus to who we will be in the future, does that help to create more of an ability to shift from that short term to the long term?
Yeah, if you think about it, there's a lot of work in what's called construal level theory, from the word to construe, that has to do with the impact of distance on the way we think about things. So the closer you are to anything in space or time or socially, the closer you are, the more specifically you think about it, the further away you are, the more abstractly you think about it. And so there's two ways to try to resolve this trade-off, because basically you're closer in time to the short-term goal than the long-term goal. And these kinds of strategies are really good at trying to take that long-term goal and bring it closer. The alternative, of course, is to try to take the short-term goal and move it a little bit further away by treating it a little bit more abstractly. And so both of those can work. And the idea is to try to calm down or create a little distance for the things that are in the short term and bring closer the things that are in the long term. So for example, one way that we take short-term goals and push them off is by creating structures around long-term goals like retirement. So one of the reasons we create retirement accounts, which are silly from an economic standpoint, we're putting restrictions on the ability to use money, is because we are making it harder to do this short-term thing. We're moving it a little bit further away from ourselves.
But people don't like being told no, and I want to spend the money now. Christy, how can we get them to reorient their thinking and saying, well, your future self's going to need this?
Yeah, so it is really difficult because we have so many things that are bombarding us on a daily basis in terms of, you know, I can buy this or I can buy that, and that's going to make me happy in the short run. But then when we think about the long run, how is that going to have an impact on us? So when we think about retirement, that's a long ways out there. If you just graduated college, then many of us work with college students. They're thinking, why would I need to do that? That's so far down the road. That's so difficult to think about. But then looking at, all right, what is it that I really want to be doing in retirement, and what can I do now? What's that step that I need to take today, and what is that step that I could take within the next week? And so really making it very doable, cutting it down. What is it that I can do today? so that it's realistic and doable.
That's really the key, doable.
Absolutely, and part of what we're hitting at too, I think, is the more abstract the goal is, the less emotional connection there is to it, and then therefore the less motivation to take any sort of action. And so even the word retirement, I mean, what does that mean? I mean, for some people they have no vision of retirement, or they have a negative vision of retirement. Like, when I retire, then I have nothing useful for the world. So it's really important, I think, to create a real positive emotional vision, to have an experience around that to reach the goal.
If you would like more information about the topics and our guests featured in this series, please visit our website at PlanStrongerTV.com. Also, if you have a question you would like David to answer, please send it to questions@PlanStrongerTV.com.